Welcome, everybody, one and all, to the Wide 80 podcast, episode 12. And I got the same guys with me as always. Short Stuff Golf, Colby in the building. 2023 fantasy baseball champion, Chandler in
Hello.
the building. Um, coming off of kind of a quick podcast last week, we're kind of throwing it together because some life stuff's been going on. Dealing with a newborn, still dealing with a newborn, but
She's still new, right?
I think so. Took her to the doctor today, and she gained 10 ounces from last Friday to today. So, and they want between 5 and 7. She gained 10. So,
Overachiever, man.
That's good though.
you know
Yeah,
what I'm
Want 'em-
saying?
want 'em
overachiever.
to-
No, so
want 'em to get
she's
bigger.
still planning on taking over the world. So y'all just be ready for that. But yeah, man, last pod we kind of threw one together. This one a little more elaborate, hopefully a little more fluent put together. We got a lot of stuffs to talk about, and we're always going to have some fun. And before we get into that, please follow us on our social media platforms, TikTok, while you can. The Wide 80 podcast. Make sure you're spelling out the 80 in Wide 80 podcast. Look for the blue logo. We're on YouTube. We're on TikTok. We're on Spotify. We're on the Apple Podcast app. Any of y'all with iPhones, the little podcast app comes pre-installed with the phone. You can search Wide 80 podcast, look for the blue logo, and we are on there. Fellas, how have you been in the last 7 days?
I think Colby brought his charger today, right?
Yes.
Let's
We've-
go.
Definitely brought the
It took
charger.
us, so let's do the math. It took us 11 episodes at about 1 to 2 hours apiece for our first technical difficulty to happen. I think that's not
bad.
too bad.
Yeah, not
Oh,
bad.
And
And
what
it
were
did
the
in the last
odds that it was
second,
going to
too.
go? What are the odds that it was going to be Colby? That would be the reason.
Well, and at the very
Probably-
end too. You
That
know?
was you probably the
Some pretty good
favorite.
odds. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the favorite.
But yeah, Colby dipped out a little early. Colby had something to do. Colby had to catch The Voice on TV or something.
Yeah. Survivor.
He had to catch Big Brother.
Big Brother. Yeah.
But yeah, how have you guys been the last 7 days? I mean, anything new?
Nope. Still sleep deprived. Taking care of these kids.
I feel that.
Yep.
Thankfully, with our situation, my wife's mother-in-law is here, so she's literally taking the baby, and we can get about 3 to 4 hours of sleep, and that's
Nice.
been a help. But she got to go back at some point, so But then our mom is
Mhm.
coming in a couple weeks, so we got a
Yep.
little bit of help to start this journey off. But it's been fine. But enough of kids and family stuff.
I was just gonna say, I think I
What
got
kind of-
8 hours last night, so sorry.
It's like, you know what,
Just had to, throw that in there.
Talking about kids and lack of sleep. What kind of podcast is this?
dude, this is the
Yeah.
worst. We just lost
Mhm.
some subscribers and some followers for sure.
It's the wide-eyed
but,
80.
The
Parental
wide eye.
podcast.
This dude said the wide-eyed 80 podcast.
Yeah.
Nice, Judy.
That was okay. I think we
done.
just. I think we
That's
just. What's the quickest that we've named the episode? I think that might be the record.
Yeah, we'll see.
He just-
We got
Yeah,
a
it's
lot
probably-
today. We got a lot. We'll see.
He
what
came
happens.
out swinging on that
Yeah.
one. But yeah, I mean, let's get into some football stuff. The draft just happened. In the event of the draft happening, I want to kind of get your guys' opinion and thoughts of some teams post-draft as we head into sort of this training camp time. Some teams to keep an eye out on. Maybe some teams that struggled last year that maybe aren't going to struggle this year, you think, or some teams that maybe people have forgotten about. And then we'll talk about some teams that maybe have had some success that will be taking a step back. So, Colby, I want to start with you. A team stepping forward, a team that you want to keep an eye out on. Who do you got?
I got FOAM.
Okay.
And so basically this prefaces like basically what happened last year, and
Yep.
they just scream, hey, you might want to keep an eye on these guys. Is obviously you got Green Bay. They were 9-8 last year. Jordan Love, he looks like he's the guy. Everybody is seeing that, this kid's got some talent and he is able to go toe to toe with Super Bowl contenders in the playoffs. So,
Yeah.
and they can only get better from here. I got Cincinnati Bengals. They finished over 500 with Jake Browning starting 7 games. So
Yep.
if you get a Joe Burrow healthy for the whole year, what does that Cincinnati team look like? I would like to see what they look like without Joe Mixon, but they have Zach Moss there now. It
So
looks like he's
interesting
going
that
to be,
is.
Yep.
yeah, he looks like he's going to be the guy there. Interested to see how they play with him, but yeah, Cincinnati Bengals, New York Jets. What do they look like with Aaron Rodgers? That was the biggest thing last year, and then we saw his whole Achilles just go and snap, and
That was disgusting. Yeah.
yeah, it was crazy seeing
That
that
was
whiplash
gnarly.
in his leg like that. It was
Yeah.
nuts. But yeah, New York Jets is definitely one that's got my eye up and looking and whatnot. And then obviously the Texans, Super Bowl contender roster right off the
Houston
bat.
Texans,
And
baby.
so yeah, those are my 4 teams that I'm gonna keep an eye on. Obviously the Texans because I'm a Texans fan. But
Very,
Let's
very,
go.
very well said. So one that I had that you had, I got the Jets as well. Look, they won 7 games last year. How? I don't know. That defense is always going to be super good under Robert Saleh, but Aaron Rodgers on one leg is 100 times better than what they had last year with Wilson, Boyle, Simeon, not some of the worst quarterbacking that we have seen. But Aaron Rodgers on one leg, if he comes back at 50%, smokes those guys out of the water. Breece Hall with no Dalvin Cook backfield competition. Like it's just Breece Hall. Breece Hall is the best player on that offense.
Yep.
By far. Give him the ball. And then the receiving core got better. I mean, you got Wilson in the at receiver, who's one of the best young talent. Didn't really get to see it last year because of the bad quarterback play. So then you get Mike Williams on the other side. And the defense is gonna be great. So I got the Jets, and then I got the Arizona Cardinals. Healthy Kyler Murray. I think they have the head coach. I'm a big Jonathan Gannon guy, and the Cardinals had 4 wins last year. 3 of those came against playoff teams. Three wins of their 4 came against playoff teams. They
That's
beat
impressive.
they beat the Cowboys, they beat the Steelers, they beat the Eagles. So they gave good teams some hard days, right? Healthy Kyler Murray, Marvin Harrison Jr., Trey McBride at tight end, who was their number 1 receiver last year. Now he can kind of take a step back, just be a number 1 tight end, and let Marvin Harrison Jr. do his thing. The defense is going to be better, I feel. So those are the 2 teams I got. I got the Jets, like Colby said, and I'll throw in the Cardinals. Who you got, Chandler?
Of course, the Houston Texans.
It's not a Wide 80 podcast.
Yeah, it's not without a doubt. Of
that's
course,
a
the
very
Houston
interesting
Texans,
take.
right? Who knew?
Mhm.
But and I don't necessarily expect them to go to the Super Bowl, but again, we have AFC Championship bound expectations. So looking forward to that happening. The Atlanta Falcons, strictly because of the new head coach who knows who his weapons are. I don't really care about what they did in the draft. We talked about it last pod. But you're going to get a quarterback that can throw to those guys and actually use the weapons around them. So I'm excited to see that happen. And then I got 2 takes with this one particular team. It's the Chicago Bears, right? I think they had a fantastic draft. Outside of that,
Yep.
They're going to just be a whole new look team. I think it's going to be awesome. A lot of fun to watch. High expectations for them. I don't know if y'all have seen this going around social media about people claiming Caleb Williams made up the fucking bear claw. Have y'all seen this nonsense?
No, that doesn't come across my socials.
Bears fans are like, we've been fans for 80 years. How have we not thought of this? He's been a Bear for 10 minutes. And like any Houston University, fan, and he like the Bearcats for one, the Bobcats, you got San Marcos, and just all these people. The claw's been around forever. All right. Don't give the number 1 draft pick any more credit than he already deserves. Right. That's my piece on it. But it's silly to me to see
Smells
that.
like hate coming from
Yeah,
Chandler.
no, just a little hate for the pop
Hater.
culture, man. A little hate for the pop culture. That's all it is.
Hey.
But yeah, those 3 for sure. And I think most excited to actually watch outside of the Texans would be the Falcons for me.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Perfect. As far as teams taking a step back, Chandler, I'm going to throw it back to you. Teams
Let's
taking
go.
a step back. Who you got?
No rhyme or reason here. Well, a rhyme or reason for 2, but not the third, right? Buffalo Bills. Hard to see
Ooh.
what they do with that wide receiver room. Hard to see what Josh Allen's capable of without his number one threat. Number two threat also gone, and Gabe Davis. Another team to look out for, Los Angeles Chargers. I am 50-50 on these guys because I think the addition of Harborough to head coach is huge. Obviously, Justin Herbert's a great quarterback, but he lost his number one and number two weapons as well. So really curious to see what they do there. And I always expect some growing pains whenever a new head coach comes in there, tries to completely readjust, because that's exactly what Harborough will do. He's going to put his own flair on everything. And then another team I actually have is the Cincinnati Bengals. And this
Ooh.
is the one I don't really have a rhyme or reason for, but I think that the wide receiver room in the offseason, the trade talks amongst, T. Higgins going places, whether or not I'm blanking on this guy's name. My goodness, Jamar Chase,
Yeah.
is willing or wanting or having a good time there in Cincinnati. And then can Joe Burrow stay healthy? We haven't seen it for a year. And I liked what Jake Browning did whenever he came in. I actually expected him to be moved to another team and compete for a number one job, but we'll just have to wait and see, because I have little faith that their core actually stays together for 17 games next year.
Fair point.
Mm.
So we got some opposing opinions at the
Yeah.
Wide 80 podcast,
Yeah.
but I'll go next, and I'll just because we had the same one, I had the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah.
That's the team I have taken a step back. I think watching Buffalo last year, I think we all had the same idea, and that's they need a weapon, right? Just how Stephon Diggs was being used, how Gabe Davis was being used. It seemed like in the games where they struggled, it seemed like Stephon Diggs is getting double covered and Gabe Davis is getting Gatorade somewhere. Like he's on the field, but he's not on the field, if that makes sense.
Yep.
And then when they were the best last year was when Josh Allen's kind of playing hero ball. He's running the ball, leading and rushing. He's kind of doing everything. How long can you keep that up realistically? And you look at their receiver room, to your point, Chandler, they have a rookie second round pick, Keon Coleman, who ran a 4.61 in the 40. He's a big body guy, but a 4.61 in the 40. I'm not trying to put a lot of weight on the 40 time, but it's something to think about, right?
Yeah.
He did not combine well, if anyone cares, right? Then you got Curtis Samuel, who is entering his 8th season and has never gone over, he hasn't gone over 656 yards since 2020. And then you got Khalil Shakir, who's coming off 600 yards and 2 touchdowns. And you got Mac Hollins. Like, that's your top 4 receivers. When we were thinking Allen needs to do less himself and distribute more, I don't know. So that's why. Colby, who you got?
I got 2 of them.
Bet you anything Colby was looking at baseball. $5 Colby was
No,
like, damn it.
no, I was actually looking at some stats on
For this
quarterback
take, you
for
asshole.
this take. But no, I was gonna say Cleveland Browns. I think they'll take a step back.
Oh,
Okay.
that's a good one because
Yeah,
they really
yeah,
overachieved last year.
Yeah, they were super good and best offense for a little bit, and I think once Deshaun gets back there, I don't know. I just have a bad feeling about the whole thing. I don't think it's gonna work out the way that the Browns were hoping with the whole trade and everything. I just have a feeling about them, and then I actually think the San Francisco 49ers are going to take a step back.
Let's go.
I think that the firing of the defensive coordinator is going to sting a little more than people think. Yes, that defense is astronomically talented, but I think that you had a chess player as a defensive coordinator, and I think you're going to lose that with him. So, yeah, I think it's going to sting a little bit more.
Interesting.
That's a real good
Yeah.
point.
That Colby came to pod today. He's trying to take home this employee of the month trophy that we have.
Dude, I lacked last one, so I got to bring some fire.
You were a little tired. I could tell. It's been a lot.
Yeah.
It's been a lot going on, but he came to play today, and I'm not mad at it, to be honest. But yeah, I mean the Niners and the Browns. I can't believe I didn't think of them. It's one of those things. Why didn't I think of that? But yeah, the Browns really they need to. This would be the year for them to. It's either shit or get off the pot with Deshaun Watson.
Yep.
Like, what was it all for? What was it all for?
And what about Chubb? Is he gonna Is he going to
I
be
just saw a
as good
report
as he used to be?
yesterday that said he's progressing nicely, but still has a long way to go.
Yeah.
That's
What is it? Both ACLs that he's torn?
I
Yeah,
don't know. His shit like
One-
snapped.
one
That's
of them
crazy.
twice. Yeah,
Both
Like,
of them, and he's still running. Like,
but
oof.
the interesting
Uh.
thing is, if anyone's going to come back from an injury like that, Nick Chubb is just one of those old school football.
Love
Like
it.
he don't wear gloves, he don't wear a hand warmer, he don't wear any flash, no visor, no mouthpiece. This dude's
Mhm.
out here in shorts and a t-shirt, and
Yeah.
he's all just old school. It's kind of like how
Yeah.
Cleveland Brown running backs have been in history. But
yeah.
And he's arguably my favorite because he's just
he's
all in
a
one.
lunch pail guy, man. Just
Yeah.
just brings it. He's when healthy is. I mean, behind maybe argument Christian McCaffrey is the number 2 back in the league, and just there's not a lot of flash, but just is a
Gets
absolute
the job
monster,
done.
absolute monster. Love the takes we had about teams taking a step forward, taking a step back. In other football news, I mean, Travis Kelce, when we thought maybe a retirement would be coming, signs a 2-year extension, $34.25 million that will make Kelce the highest paid tight end in the league on an annual basis. I mean, no surprise there.
Why not?
What makes this deal cool to me is the Chiefs are actually have weapons around. Like they actually are building weapons around him. They drafted Xavier Worthy out of Texas, super fast receiver. I
Yeah.
assume they'll try to form some type of Tyreek Hill role for him. Rashee Rice, when he's not running into people at 105 miles an hour, is really a really good receiver. And then Pacheco is getting better, all that stuff. So
Don't forget about Hollywood now.
Hollywood Brown.
Yep.
The signing of Hollywood Brown.
Yep, he's
They
there too. So
have,
they're just gonna have speed on the outside, and Kelsey's
so
gonna be
fast.
sitting in the middle of the field, just like, yo, I'm open.
So
unfair.
you could make an argument that he signs this new deal and he's probably in better position to have
Mhm.
some of his best work could come next year, in my opinion, from Travis
Yeah.
Kelce, given the way that offense is constructed. I don't expect us to have super analytical takes, but anybody have anything to say about this?
He deserves it.
Yeah,
The
easily.
best.
Easily.
And
The best
Yeah.
playoff tight end, that's for sure. And
For sure.
he's really shaping out to be one of the best tight ends of all time, if not
I
the best
wouldn't.
tight end of
I
all
wouldn't
time.
be surprised if he leads the league in reception touchdowns next year. Not
It could
yards,
happen.
but touchdowns.
Chandler already showing his hand for the fantasy draft way too early. You can pay for him?
Yeah, we are going salary this year. I'm excited for it, man.
Oh, I
Alright.
totally forgot that too.
I'm
Damn.
excited.
Dude.
I almost did a mock draft today just for the hell of it, but no, I didn't.
There's football mock drafts available?
No, I got
guess-
a baseball one. Just
Oh,
shits and giggles, dude.
God. This dude's got a problem.
Yeah, I just like drafting.
Dude's in the
Yeah.
middle of baseball season. He's like, yo, I could get a team and play
Yeah.
for 3/4 of the season, right?
Yeah.
Psycho.
That's awesome. I'm gonna tell you, I did the same thing. I did it last year where the only team I had, at least before the season started, was when we did our salary cap draft, and I had so
Mhm.
much fun doing that the season had been going for a couple weeks, and I was like, let me do another one just cuz. And I ended up winning some money off that one. It was just serpentine though.
Nice.
But all
Nice.
right, so that's our football segment. You guys want to get into some games? We got some games.
Love
games.
games.
All right.
Yeah.
So this draft that we are going to do is brought to you by Colby. He came up clutch when we're all scrambling to find a draft topic because I'm dealing with stuff. Chandler just doesn't care about
don't
us. He's just like,
Wrong type of draft, man.
no. He's like, no. I'm if we're not doing salary cap, I don't want to do it. Chandler's gonna try to figure out how to do our drafts that we do on the pod and make them salary cap somehow.
Yeah, I'll put a price on them.
He's like, 100 just cause 100 what? I don't know.
Don't know yet.
So we
figure it out
are
later.
going to draft. We do a draft each podcast. This week, this episode, we are going to draft the best sports moments. Now, however you want to interpret that, it could be sports moments that we've witnessed. It could just be sports moments, period. But that's how we're going to do it, right? And the order that we have Colby going first. We got Chandler going second, and I will go last, and we serpentine it. So Colby, set it off.
All right, with the number 1 pick in the top 5 moments in sports history or you have witnessed, I'm going with Tom Brady's comeback against the Atlanta Falcons in
All right.
2000.
That's
yep,
not what I
yep.
expected you to go.
No, that's not where I
Yep,
thought
that's
either. I
not
like
it.
it. Okay.
That's a good one though.
Yeah.
That
I
I,
thought
that,
they were
why did I not
done.
even think of that one? That's
Oh, that's
crazy.
easily on the list, man. It's just,
All right.
it was fun to watch.
Chandler, let's do it.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna get it off the board so y'all don't take it. Let's go. Well, where'd I put it? Aha. The 2006 Rose Bowl game. Vince Young's improbable comeback against the USC Trojans. Yeah, that's what I thought you were taking, bro.
Wow. So it's
no,
not
I'm
the one.
surprised.
Push.
Yeah. It's not the one. It's not the one I thought.
That's not the one.
But that's a good pick.
Oh, give me it.
So I think
Man.
I'm able to get the two that I really want to get here. Okay.
Dude, I feel
So-
so unworthy.
This is
Sorry.
what I thought y'all would pick given where we're from and everything. I'm gonna go Tracy McGrady's 13 points in 33 seconds.
That was a good one too. Yep.
Yeah. That's the
Yes,
one
that
I
was
thought we were
beautiful.
all going to have.
We defer
Um,
basketball to you, man.
Oh yeah, right.
No, that was
was
such a
insane.
sick moment.
Let me see
Yep.
if I can get a little, let me see if I can get y'all. This was a huge sports moment for me. It's in my head constantly, and it has nothing to do with other than how cool it was. And I hope you guys are on the same page, and maybe I can get like a little throwback in your brain. I'm going to go the 2007 Fiesta Bowl, Boise State over Oklahoma, the Statue of Liberty play, and the
dude,
hook and lateral.
that's so
Jared
good.
Zembransky
Yeah.
to Ian Johnson
Yeah.
on
Oh,
the Statue
man.
of Liberty touchdown. That is in. I go to sleep and I wake
was
up
awesome.
thinking about that.
Yeah.
So the 2007 Fiesta Bowl.
That's
Brandon, I
sweet.
think you win already.
That's sweet.
That was so
All right.
good, man.
Chandler going two. What you got?
Let's see. Man, there's a few that I just don't think y'all are gonna have, so I can kind of take it easy on it. You might have this one though. I'm gonna go with Auburn's walk-off kick six.
Oh,
yeah, dude.
That's
Alabama.
such a good one.
Yeah.
Dude,
November
you guys are
2013.
so good.
Field goal would have won the game, and field goal fell short, and
Ran it
Auburn
back for
just ran it
Holy
back to
shit.
seal it. And final
Kobe
second.
said you guys are good.
I can't believe I forgot all this stuff.
I told you I
didn't
wanted to
think of
draft
that
today,
one
man.
either.
Oh man.
Oh my god. And
It's
this is
good to go down
Chandler
memory
last
lane.
minute too. This is Chandler last
Yeah.
minute. Imagine if you gave him a week.
Yeah, you don't want
It's
that.
like a fighter that on short notice. Just think, man, if I'd have had a
If
full
I'd have had a
camp.
full camp, dude. All right, Colby, what you got?
I'm just gonna try and get what I think you guys might have, just so I can have some stuff left. I'm gonna go with Ben Roethlisberger's game-winning touchdown in the 2008
The
Super Bowl.
Santonio
And
home.
yep, to the home student. I
That toe
can
tap?
still
With
yeah. I can still
Yep.
picture, but not picture myself, but
Yeah.
like relive jumping out of the couch whenever that happened. Just be like, oh my god, he caught
The
I
that.
remember
best toe tap.
where I
The
was,
best toe
yeah.
tap.
That was so good.
Oh
Yeah.
my god. All right, Colby, you going
I
back to
remember what
back.
house I was in. Yeah. What else do I got here? Let's go. Let me set the stage. 2017 World Series, bottom of the 10th, game 5, 2 outs left. Bregman's up, hits a walk-off single, and Derek Fisher scores from second base to win in extra innings, 13-12.
Let's
That
go.
was probably one of my favorite of all time. when Bregman hit
No
that
Houston
single.
bias though.
No Houston bias.
I
No.
remember watching that game.
Yeah.
And I was like, holy shit, this is one of the
That
best
was
things
awesome.
I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
Is
It's
that
one of
the
the best games I've ever watched?
Is that the game where the final score was crazy? Wasn't it super high?
13-12.
Yeah, that's the best baseball game I've ever seen in my life. Yeah, that's the
Astros versus
best-
Dodgers.
That's
guys,
the
yeah.
best baseball game I've ever seen in my life. And I had
Makes
no
it a
horse
little
in the
sweeter
race.
that they beat the Dodgers too.
But actually, at that time, I was Astro. I was full blown Astro at that point, and that was crazy.
Mhm.
What you got, Chandler?
Let's go April 2016 when Kobe Bryant put up a 60 burger in his
last
final game.
R.I.P. Kobe. That makes
Oy.
me sad but happy.
I'm
I thought you were
sorry
gonna
he
say
fell to
81,
3.
but 60.
You know,
Oh, that's another one. Kobe just unlocked one from my brain.
Yeah. All right, B.
No, I'm not gonna do it. Okay, what do I got now? I'm going to take LeBron James coming back down 3-1 against the Warriors, the best
That's a good
team
one.
ever, and come back to win the finals and led the series in every stat category.
Yep.
Nice.
That's as a
Oh, Bron James.
Dude led, and
boy.
it's not that he came back 3-1 against the Warriors, but he came back and led in points, rebounds, assists, steals, blocks, and
Everything.
everything.
Yeah.
Dude, I think I remember that too.
Unbelievable. No, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna take Kobe Bryant's 81 points. Sorry, I like it. I like it.
Just so because you mentioned,
Yeah.
I like
about
it.
that.
I'm sorry. It's not on my list, but I
Sorry,
don't
we
wanna
need
do
we
it.
need Kobe up there twice anyway.
Chandler's coming so hot that like
Yeah.
I needed the help. All right, Chandler.
Oh,
What you
back to
got?
me. Back to me. Shit. All right, let's go with the Chicago Cubs World Series champs 2016.
Nice.
Finally broke the curse. That was fun to watch. I'm not even a Cubs fan, and that was just kind of, I think, emotional for every
Felt
baseball
good.
fan.
Felt good.
Yeah, that was a feel good year for sure for the
Yep.
Cubs. That was awesome.
It's like when the Saints won it.
yeah.
Yeah, right.
After
After
Harvey.
Katrina.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Katrina.
Or Harvey Katrina. I'm sorry. Damn, Colby.
No, when you live by the coast, you definitely mix up hurricanes.
It's the same
Oh
one.
yeah, because we get so
Yeah.
many a year.
Yeah,
It's
like
yeah.
you definitely mix them up. All right, Colby, who you got? You're going back to back.
So I have one in basketball, and it's actually against the Rockets. When Damian Lillard
you
hit the
motherfucker.
buzzer beater, and sent us home in the second round.
That was
It was
it's one of the
2014
cleanest,
playoffs.
and he's only continued to send people home in the playoffs
Yeah.
since then.
I mean,
Except
he
for this
just
year.
like he had the ball for half a
Except for
second
this
and
year.
just. And
Yeah.
Chandler Parsons was like had his hand in his face and everything, and he drains it.
Pat
Yeah.
Beverly shouldn't have switched.
Yep.
Shouldn't have switched. Anyway, I've
That'd
had
put us game 7, I think.
yeah, we were that was gonna go game 7. LaMarcus Aldridge tore our ass up that whole
Yep.
series. Just you're worried about Damian Lillard and LaMarcus Aldridge is dropping 40 bombs on you, and you're
Yep.
just like, what do I do? Anyways,
Top of the key pull up. This is that man right there.
are you going back to back, Colby?
5th pick.
Oh,
Kobe.
I am? Okay, so I'm kind of indifferent on because I have 2 left, but I don't know which one to pick. I'm gonna say this because I'm gonna say Astros bias. Ronel Blanco's no hitter.
Let's go. That was good. Yeah, that was good.
I've never witnessed a no hitter ever until that day.
Oh, really?
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Blanco, the no-hitter, the small light in the very, very, very dark tunnel that has been the Astros season thus far. But
Yeah.
turning it around, right? Right, boys?
Yeah. Hey,
Yeah.
hey.
Hey, a series win,
Slow
like we
start,
talked about
slow
earlier.
start.
Yeah, series win
Yeah.
against Cleveland's a big thing.
Dude, it's not how you start the race, it's how you finish it. Chandler, who you got
This
to
is
round off
true.
your team?
So maybe a little lesser known. This is definitely before my time, but I've heard plenty of stories about it. I've read plenty about it. June 1971, Doc Ellis throws a no-hitter on LSD.
All right, Chandler won. This is
He-
stupid.
Yeah, that's
He
yeah,
he
this
claims that
sucks.
he couldn't see the catcher. He mistook several batters for Jimi Hendrix, and he thought the home plate umpire was Richard Nixon, and throws a freaking no-hitter.
You can't tell
just-
me that Jimi Hendrix isn't Jesus when you do LSD and you start seeing Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I think he might be Jesus.
Yeah, God's calling you home.
That's crazy.
So crazy. I know all of these things. You guys are just unlocking it in my head.
Yeah.
I remember this stuff.
And then it's not really a Brandon list unless I throw some UFC in there. So I'm going
Yeah.
to go Conor McGregor knocks out Jose Aldo in 13 seconds after Jose Aldo had been undefeated for 11 years.
Yep.
Yep.
That would be that
And
would
the
be
fact
how-
that he practiced that
that left
knockout,
Like
hook,
beforehand.
that left
that
hook,
left
like
hook.
right before it
he
happened. It's like
just
scripted.
knew
It's scripted.
So I don't want to go on a soapbox here, but it was even the commentary was
Yep.
saying Connor looks relaxed. Jose Aldo looks like he's feeling this right
Yeah.
now because they went on a press run for months.
Yep, it was big.
And Connor was just acting a fool and he was stealing the belt. He was cussing him out in Portuguese and was doing all the shit. And then Jose Aldo hadn't lost in 11 years.
Yeah.
And then 13 seconds. And that was a moment.
Yeah, that was the first time like you really saw that in UFC, right? Like the shit talking of that match.
Then it just worked and
then you see it transpire into the cage.
That's why Conor McGregor,
Yeah.
I know he's very washed up now and no one really cares about him now. And I definitely understand that. Maybe a couple people care more because of his movie, but like, he was just the first guy to just really, because we've always seen like Nate Diaz, right? Who would
Mhm.
talk shit, but then get beat up. And you'd be like, oh, well, I mean, you got beat up, right? But then Conor would talk shit and then flatline people. And it was really interesting to see. And then, but that it all has a short window though, and then here we are.
But
But
also beat one of my favorite fighters, Chad Mendez.
Chad Mendez
I really
was
do
losing to
like
Chad Mendez, but then Mendez ran out of gas, and then when Connor stuffed that last takedown, he said,
He's like,
I got you now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then he ended up finishing the fight very shortly after. But he's like, I got you. But and here are the teams. So on the greatest sports moments we've witnessed or heard about, right? We got Colby, who drafted first. Tom Brady Falcons comeback. Big Ben to Santonio Holmes toe tap. 2017 Astros Game 5 walk-off. Damian Lillard buzzer beater against the Rockets, and then Blanco no-hitter this season. Chandler, Vince Young's comeback against USC, the Auburn walk-off kick 6, Kobe Bryant 60 points in his last game, RIP, Chicago Cubs 2016 breaking the curse, and then 1971 Doc Ellis no-hitter on hallucination.
It's fantastic, dude. It's so
On the
good.
drip,
It's
dude,
so
on the
It's
good.
so
drip.
good.
And then I rounded off Trace McGrady, 13 points in 33 seconds. 2007 Fiesta Bowl Statue of Liberty. LeBron down 3-1 against the Warriors. Kobe Bryant's 81 and Conor McGregor's 13-second knockout over Jose Aldo.
Nice.
Can I hit y'all with 4 honorable mentions?
Yeah, let's hear it.
Yeah.
I have one.
All right. 1980 Olympics, Miracle on Ice. United
Yep.
States beating Russia in hockey.
Mm-mm.
April 2019, Tiger wins the Masters again after his surgeries, after his affairs, after his
What?
DUIs. That's the one I thought
Colby
you were
not
gonna have,
having
Colby.
Tiger on there is weird.
Yeah.
And I don't like it.
Don't know
I
if y'all
said
followed
Chandler's better.
if y'all followed Derby or not, but American Pharoah won the Triple Crown back in 2015, which is winning the Kentucky Derby, the Preakness Stakes,
horse
and the
races,
Belmont
right?
Stakes. Yep.
Yep.
First time that's happened in more than 30 years. Hasn't happened since. And then really an honorable mention here. This is just because I really like the movie, really like the guy. Alex Honnold, Free Solo's El Capitan. And that happened in June of 2017. If you haven't seen that movie, go watch the movie Free Solo. It
Okay.
is incredible.
What is
If
that?
you're, it's about rock climbing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and if like you're afraid of heights,
That's when you
movie
rock
is-
climb and you
is
have
gonna
no
trigger that.
no
Yeah, no
harness
safety,
or anything.
nothing.
Yeah.
And El Capitan
thanks.
is known for being like one of, if not the most difficult rocks to climb. I say rock, it's a freaking mountain.
Colby's like,
No.
well, I got.
Well, I got Nick Foles beating the Patriots.
Yeah, I love
2019.
that one too.
Chandler
Yeah.
loves a
Off
good
the
Nick Foles
couch.
story.
Philly special, yeah, dude. Backup quarterback, somebody, them and kickers. Let's go.
Right.
Hmm.
I'm surprised you didn't have any old school what was it the Patriots kicker that beat the
Adam Vinatieri, yeah.
that yeah, there you go. What
I was gonna say
that beat the Panthers, right, in the Super Bowl on the kick?
He's beaten a lot of people.
He's beating a lot of people.
What are the teams in dodgeball? Average Joes. When the,
The
average Joes beat the
Average Joes over the Globo Gym.
over
There
the
you
globe.
go.
Yeah, that's history, dude.
The
That's
Vipers.
awesome. Yeah.
That's good. All right.
Vipers.
So let's transition. I'm going to introduce this new segment, new game, if you will. It's going to be called Over Under. I am going
Yes.
to give you a player and a stat line number that's connected to that player. You tell me if the number I give you is over or under the actual stat. Okay.
Let's
And
do
we
it.
will start off. We're going to keep it football since we just went off of football. I'm going to start with Christian McCaffrey. Okay. Total touchdowns last season from Christian McCaffrey. The number is 20. Over or under?
I say over.
Okay. Colby got older. Over.
I sure did. Goddamn.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go under at 18.
Colby comes out swinging and is correct.
23?
21
Oh.
is
Undefeated, baby. Let's go.
21.
Undefeated.
Undefeated.
Nice.
Want to know? Colby's like, oh, my internet's getting bad. I think I'm gonna get out
I
here.
I actually did forget my charger, guys. Sorry.
All right. So there we go. Yeah. Christian McCaffrey, 21 total touchdowns last year.
Damn.
Stephon Diggs, receiving touchdowns last season. The number is 9. Over or under?
Under.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's also under at 8.
That is correct. It is 8. Yep. Chandler
Let's
really.
go.
Yeah.
Yay.
On the board. On the board.
On the board. Okay. Let's get funny with this one. Okay. Tyreek Hill, career rushing touchdowns. Tyreek Hill career rushing touchdowns. Okay, the number is 8. Over or under? Career rushing
interesting.
touchdowns for Tyreek Hill.
I'm gonna go over
Okay.
because it doesn't sound right.
Okay.
Under.
Colby is undefeated. It is only
Nice,
7. Only
Nice.
7 in his career.
Yep.
I thought I could get y'all with that one. That's funny. Okay.
How about them apples?
Colby's 3-0. I'm telling you, Colby took a pot off last week, and now he's came to play. All right.
LSD, man.
It was like, I'm talking to 2 raccoons right now.
Yeah, that's
Hendrix?
awesome.
So, okay, let's transition to the same game, but we're going to go to baseball, okay? Bryce Harper, home runs last season. The number is 23, over or under?
Under.
I really thought it was 23.
But
Over.
I'll give you a hint. I didn't do any, like,
Yeah,
spot-
yeah, over.
Okay. Colby remains undefeated.
22
So
time.
the number on 23 was over under. 21 is how
21.
many he hit last year.
I know he wasn't very, he was low 20s.
And this I really dedicated this segment to Colby. Right? Ready?
Yeah.
We
Kyle
actually talked
Schwarber.
beforehand.
Kyle Schwarber. Strikeouts
Oh.
last season.
Ooh.
The number is 210. Over or under?
Over.
Dude, let's keep it. I'll keep him undefeated. I'll go under.
It is
215.
over. 215.
Yeah.
Let's
He
go.
knew it too.
I knew it, bro.
Yeah.
Because I'm like holding on to hope here. Like if he gets less than 200, I'm good.
This
That's
one's
awesome.
This one's interesting, so I want you to pay attention, okay? Fernando Tatis Jr. Home runs and stolen bases combined last season.
Oh, okay.
Home runs. So if you gotta get out a calculator, you gotta get out a calculator. Home
Okay.
runs and stolen bases combined last season. Over or under 57.
Jesus.
Home runs and stolen bases combined. The number is 57. Over or under?
Over.
Yeah, I gotta go under because I was going with like 43.
And Colby, your undefeated streak ends.
Oh,
The number
right.
is 54. He hit 25 homers and stole 29 bases.
Man.
I don't even care
Well.
about this game.
I don't even care. No, I wasn't invested at all. No,
Oh,
that's
that's a
sweet.
good one, B.
Yep.
Yep.
And that is the game. So I thought about that segment in one of my sleep deprived nights. And
I love the mixed stats. That's something to think about.
Yep.
there you
We
go.
should do it again.
All right, Colby. So I'm gonna pull up your player perspective. All right.
Nice.
And let's get to talking about this. I know Chandler already knows it because he already went to Googling.
No, I haven't even. What position are we dealing with?
Hold on. Let's let Colby introduce it, and then let's
This-
explain it for our audio listeners. So Colby, what position we
This-
got here?
First baseman.
We got first baseman.
Ooh.
And on the left, we got 29 games, 127 plate appearances, 22 hits. He's hitting 3 homers, 16 RBIs with a 206 average, 323 on base percentage, 383 slugging, 706 OPS. On the right, 30 games, 128 plate appearances, 29 hits, 7 homers, 24 RBIs, stole 2 bags, 261 batting average, 344 on base percentage, 514 slugging, 857 OPS. So because I think me and Chandler are going to get this real quick. Okay. So I think
so? Yeah.
we should go guess for guess.
Go what?
Guess
yeah, we
for
can.
guess.
I have no idea on either.
Okay.
right now.
On the right, I'm going to go Josh Naylor.
Yes.
Nice. Well done.
All right, Chandler. That's
Yeah,
you
I
on
don't
the
know who
left.
has a 206 average, man. Freaking like
You could
Alonso
tell.
has more than 3 home runs.
Yeah, he does. You could tell how much I love Josh Naylor by just knowing
Yeah.
his stats off the top of my head.
Man, only 3 bombs, a 206. Man, who sucks?
So I have a question. It's not a guess, but I have a question.
Mhm.
Is the guy on the left someone that was supposed to be a lot better than he is right now?
Yeah.
Oh, I have an idea.
I mean, is it
Okay.
Vladdy?
No.
That was my guess. That was my
Yeah.
guess. That was gonna be my guess.
Well, I need you to take another one now because that's mine.
on the left, a guy that was supposed to be just super solid. three homers, 16 RBIs. Oh my lord. Let me go down my list of first basemen in my head.
I hope it's not Christian Walker because he's on my team.
No, Christian Walker's having a great season. Thanks for not trading him to me.
Anytime.
Shoot, man.
You guys are gonna be like, oh, that guy, yeah.
Of course. I don't know. Does he play for a good team?
Yes.
Okay, let's go good teams.
It's not Freddie.
No, Freddie's had you
I
got
know
it.
who it is. It's Matt Olson.
Yeah.
Yay!
Yep.
Are, like, what is the top two people? I mean, I paid a lot of
Yeah,
money for
top
him, and
Yep.
he's dog poop right now.
Yep.
And just Josh Naylor was kind of like with the middle of the pack last year. And
Well,
he
Josh
is
Naylor had a lot of RBIs, just not a whole lot of homers.
Yep.
right, but he's like, I think either first or second in points at first
Yep.
base right now.
Yeah, and
He's
it's
crushing it.
super
And he's killing
super interesting about the Braves because the Braves are with Olsen struggling, with Austin Riley not necessarily struggling, but not hitting homers. Like I said last podcast, I said between Austin Riley and Matt Olson, they've only had 5 total homers all year, and they're still won 20 games, still first place in the division.
Yeah.
So that's scary to think
Which-
about.
Been
Well,
trying
to
to
me,
trade
it was
for
like,
Austin
you know,
Riley all week.
Matt Olson was a 54 homer guy last year.
Yep.
Yeah.
And he's only got 3 for the year. So you're like, oh, come on, we just got to turn around sooner or later. We're just waiting to see when it is.
Trying to trade Corbin Carroll for Matt Olson right now.
Probably not going to happen.
It's not. No one wants Corbin Carroll.
I do. I just don't want him for a lot.
Exactly. No, and I'll take a lot of people not giving up a lot, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So great player perspective.
Not
Thank
bad,
you
not
Colby,
bad.
for that.
Yeah.
Not
Well
bad.
done. Well done.
Super light. So now let's get to baseball. Before we go super into it, Mike Trout,
Over under on games played this year.
dude. Apparently, so he's
162 under.
he's having knee surgery, and apparently it's not season ending. They said
They got him on the IL 10.
No,
day
he's
IL.
no, he's out.
I'm
for
just saying
months,
that's what they
I
have him
think.
on there right now.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
they didn't put him on the 60.
They'll move
And they
him.
know that the meniscus is like, that's a big one. So
So I don't know if anyone has any elaborate takes, but any
I do.
Okay, what do we got?
I'm very sad. That's my only take.
It's like, I really want to explain the sadness I'm feeling.
That's funny.
But does
darkness,
Trout come back
my
before the
friend.
trade deadline and then the Angels move him, or are we sticking with Trout still?
When is the trade deadline?
After All-Star break, right?
Or is it before?
Or before.
It's like and that's only 2 options.
That is the only 2 options.
it's
Or
either before or after.
No.
But I'm just saying, is baseball, because in some sports it's difficult to trade guys who are on an injured list. Like you can't, right? I would think
Like
so.
in general? No. I
Yeah,
don't
like
think
can
so.
you
I mean, I
trade a
think
player
you
that's on
could.
the IL? I'm gonna Google
I
it.
don't know.
Can
Yeah.
you trade a MLB player who's on the IL?
So trade deadline this year is July 30th.
July? So was it May? Ooh, that might be, I don't know.
It's gonna be close.
Of course, this doesn't answer my damn question, but yeah, like so. Let's simplify my question. Do you think Trout gets moved this year, or are they still?
Well, they moved
rocking with him?
Otani.
I mean,
They might just say, screw it, man. Let's rebuild everything, even though they've had 2 of the like all-star generational talents of the year.
and they were kind of playing better than we thought that they would.
Oh yeah,
But
their
then-
pitching has been good.
Yeah, Reed
With Reed
Detmers,
Detmer and
Tyler Anderson.
and
Yeah, he's showing up.
Anderson, T. Anderson,
Yeah, that dude's a monster. But at this point, dude, why? I don't want to sound like I'm really beating a dead horse and saying, why do you want to keep someone who's hurt all the time? But why do you want to keep someone who's hurt all the time? Especially when there's clear value on Trout. Like any these really good teams, these playoff teams, they said we'll take him and take his 80 games he's going to play. Absolutely. But if you're a team you need Trout to win. They're not going to win anything without Trout. You need Trout to have a small chance. If you don't have Trout, what are we doing? It has to be something where Trout is talking to management and he's saying, I don't want to go anywhere. It's
I'd
got to
assume
be
so.
that. It's
Yeah.
got to be that.
I'd also assume that whoever is in charge of the health of the Angels players probably isn't doing a very good job. Not to put it on one person or anything, but I mean, you've got teams like the Guardians where they haven't had an IL stint all year. They've had everybody that's played this year has played all year. They only switch out their platoon, and that's about it. So I'd be super curious to see him go to another training staff on another team to see if maybe they can get him under a different regiment to stay healthy for, I mean, give us half of the games, right? Give us 82, 81, but I don't know. I think it's super interesting. I also think the Angels like kind of touched on this a few pods ago. If they do get rid of Trout, who's bringing in their money? Who's their fan base really rooting for?
I'm saying to preserve the body of Trout, you move him to left or right field, take him out of center, move him into left or right, because center is going to be held down by Julio Rodriguez, and he's a Seattle Mariner, baby. I'm telling you, it's the
take.
like it's not, the Mariners. They're playing great baseball right now.
They're a pretty healthy team too.
Yeah, they're playing great
Not the
baseball
Twins.
right now, and they're God, the Twins. We'll talk about that later. But they're the Seattle's playing super good, right? Especially as of late, and we'll talk about that when we get to my rankings. But keep Julio in center field, and then left field, right field, let Trout, take the long sprints and diving catches is limited in left and right field. Let him chill and preserve that body and have the bat for Seattle. I'm telling you, Seattle can't rely on Jorge Polanco in third batting third all the time. Mike Trout sitting at third, Julio leading off. Come on, man. I want to see
Two things. Brandon, that was an excellent segue into a take. I did not think you were going to go towards the whole Mariner thing. That was great. And second, Chandler, I had no idea that the Cleveland Guardians haven't had an IL stint all year. That was a good stat there.
Aside,
both of y'all just blew my mind.
Bieber, right? I'm talking about position players. So Bieber's obviously.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, pitching is different. But yeah.
No, and then and the Mariners are becoming that team we thought they would be, where we thought they would have amazing pitching, and they've had amazing pitching lately.
Best man.
Luis Castillo back to earth.
Coming back, yep.
Like he got roughed up early, and then George Kirby, Jesus, has been striking him out left and right. You got Logan Gilbert. Like, you got your boy, Chandler.
Yeah, don't forget about Miller.
Yep.
Yeah,
Bryce
Miller.
So I'm going to get into my power rankings in baseball. I don't have a lot to say for each team, so it's not going to be as prolonged as it has been. But I think it's a good segment, considering what we just talked about. My number one team, moving up 3 spots from last week, is the Baltimore Orioles. They're my number one team. Look, it's as simple as Gunnar Nelson leads Gunnar Nelson. God, UFC's on my mind. Gunnar Henderson leads the MLB in home runs with 10. And my number one team last week was the Yankees. They just beat the Yankees in a series. So,
yep.
Easy.
Convincingly.
Easy, right? So Baltimore's my number one. Yankees moved down 1 spot. They're at number 2. They only scored 6 runs in 4 games against Baltimore, which is tough, after putting up 36 runs in 3 games over Milwaukee. Yep. So the inconsistency with the runs are there. And I think their pitching's kind of, Rodon got sort of roughed up a little bit. I think it's kind of coming back to life because they were overachieving with their pitching. Yep. Number 3 is the Dodgers. I have nothing to say about the Dodgers each week. They're just really good. And they're number 3. Number 4, I got the Braves. They dropped 2 spots after losing to Seattle. And we'll talk about Seattle later. Phillies are sitting at 5. They move up a spot from last week. They have the most wins in baseball. There you go. Shout out Kyle Schwarber. Number 6 is the Brewers. They move up a spot. They just keep winning, and they keep being extremely impressive. They're at 6. They move up a spot from last week. Number 7, moving up 3 spots from last week, the Mariners. They have less wins than anybody else on this list, but they have won 4 straight series including a win over Texas, Atlanta, and sweeping the Reds. Mariners are playing fantastic baseball. They're at 7. Number 8, I got the Guardians. They moved down 3 spots. Again, I didn't want to say fool's gold on the Guardians, but they had a very favorable schedule, and they just lost to the Astros, who are, no offense, but kind of at the bottom of the league when it comes to win total. Then I got the Royals at 9. At 10, I got the Minnesota Twins. They're the hottest team in baseball. They've won 10 straight. Right when you were thinking that they would have one of the worst offensive teams, they would be one of the worst offensive teams in baseball. They have won 10 straight, and I can't leave them off the list. Winning 10 straight, they're sitting at number 10. I got the Minnesota Twins. Please, Royce Lewis, come back.
It's gonna be cool when he does.
10 straight against anybody is, I have to talk about it. Do they really deserve to be 10? Maybe not, but they've won 10 straight. Someone else win 10 straight, then we'll have a conversation.
Right.
And that is my list. I got Baltimore at 1, Yankees 2, Dodgers 3, Braves 4, Phillies 5, Brewers 6, Mariners 7, Guardians 8, Royals 9, and then Twins at 10. And yeah, that's my list.
I like it.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I feel like that was a lot better than me just like giving a paragraph of why each team is where they're at. They're where they're at because I say that's where they're at. How about that? All right, so players letting us down so far. We're gonna talk about players who just we're really waiting to turn that corner. Okay, and I'll lead it off. I got Corbin Carroll. Paid a lot of money for him in the draft. Trying to trade him as we speak. He's got 1 home run, 5 RBIs, and 8 stolen bases. He's hitting a 197 average, 299 on base percentage, 248 slugging, 546 OPS. The Diamondbacks have moved him from either leading off or second in the lineup to either hitting 7th or 8th, which to me shows a lot of distrust when it comes to Corbin Carroll. Really hopeful he turns it around for the sake of my fantasy team. Another guy I got, Julio Rodriguez. His batting average is fine, but as last year's home run derby competitor and a 2-time Silver Slugger winner, he has only 5 extra base hits in 122 at-bats. He has 1 home run and 4 doubles in 122 at-bats.
Yep.
He's hitting 270, which is fine, but he was in the home run derby last year. He's a Silver Slugger. What are we doing? What are we talking about? And then another guy, this is going to sound like I'm just bashing on people I paid for, but Mitch Keller for the Pirates. Look, after being one of the best strikeout pitchers last season and receiving a huge extension this past offseason, you think Keller would be set up for an even better year? Not really. He has a 5.18 ERA. His pitches are being hit at an almost 47% hard hit rate, which lines up with his 2021 season where he had an over 6 ERA. So when Mitch Keller's pitching, they're hitting the ball super duper hard.
It's rough.
And yeah, those are the 3 players that are let me down so far. Colby, who you got? Then we'll give Chandler his runway.
I don't really have guys who are just like, oh my God, what the F, you know, it's it's kind of just
You
like,
thought Colby
I
has a
picked
kid
this
in the
guy.
room when he goes, what the F?
What the
Kids
F?
in the
He
room.
actually left,
Kids
so
in
I can say, what the fuck? But
Fuck!
anyways, more or less, I wouldn't even call this a letdown because of how he did last year. But Kyle Schwarber, he is a weak link in my link, and he's only doing like 2.7 fantasy points a game. He's around 200, I think 205 in the batting average. He's got 8 home runs, which is promising, but he's still kind of doing Kyle Schwarber things. He'll strike out 3 times, you know, for a span of, I don't know, 3 games, and then out of nowhere he'll hit 2 bombs. Just very Schwarber-esque. I thought he would be a little better. I guess you could say that is my disappointment, but he's still kind of doing Kyle Schwarber things. And this letdown is not even really a letdown. It's more of a pickup and thought he was going to do better. Jackson Morrell from the San Diego Padres.
Yep.
I think he's playing center field over there right now.
Mhm.
He was doing really well at the time, and it looks like I may have to cut him off because he's only doing 2.7 a game now. He's 0 for 19, and he's given me negative 2 points for the last 7 days. So Jackson Morrell might get shafted.
You hear
They
that,
call that a
Jackson?
slump.
Yeah, he's in a slump, but I am 1-4 or something like that. So I need to win now. I can't Can't have people doing
What-
2.7 a game.
And this name just popped up now that you mentioned Morel. Jackson Holiday was something else, wasn't he? He came as fast as he went, didn't he?
That's
Mhm.
so fun because there are other rookies that have been called up that were way lower than him on the prospect line that are way outperforming anything that he thought about doing for
Dude,
those 2 weeks that he was up there.
if I saw it correctly, at least in our league, I know that other fantasy leagues, points and stats are tallied differently, but I think it was a negative 26 or some shit like
Mhm.
that.
He had
Like,
one
good-
hit and something like 18 strikeouts
Good
over
Mm.
2 weeks of
gracious.
play.
Wish John Singleton played shortstop.
Hey, John Singleton
playing really good.
just
Yeah,
needs to.
he is playing well.
And I feel bad because I think I got in the group chat a couple weeks ago and I was like, why is John Singleton still have a job? Because it seems like they've been
Dude.
trying to do the John Singleton thing since 2014 or some
He's
shit like
proven
that.
it to you, man. I mean, it's a hell of a thing when somebody gets consistent playing time and they can actually like get into a groove and kind of find their own rhythm and figure it out.
Wasn't he like a big weed dude? Wasn't that the thing?
Dude, I watched that YouTube video today. He was like, got tested. He was like, he has a really bad drug problem.
Mhm.
It was a different time back in the day. So
Yeah, I just know that he was I remember I watched the game he got called up and he hit a solo homer on the first game he played.
Yep.
I thought,
Mhm.
oh, this is the future of the Astros, and then nothing really. Then he got sent back down, and then he got suspended for I didn't know if it was PEDs or drugs, but apparently it was he couldn't stay off the weed.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I know he took a couple years off for addiction purposes, like having to fight back from that. That's why he was out of the MLB for a little bit, and the Astros gave him another shot. So,
Oh,
if he ends
sorry.
up
Sorry.
if he ends up
God.
being successful, it just adds to his story, you know.
Chandler's like, while you guys are being funny, he had a really bad addiction problem.
No,
and
I wasn't trying to make it serious by any means.
he
It's
was,
you know,
he
I was
almost lost
thinking-
his kneecaps injecting.
I was thinking in my head watching if he would
With
if he played
weed.
shortstop. he
Weed
just had-
injections is crazy.
If
He's
he
sitting there
played-
just
if he played shortstop, man, just seeing a tank over there at shortstop running, covering the gap and
just
stuff,
block
that'd
the
be
ball with his
hilarious.
body. Just
Yeah, just
boom,
lay
just
out.
pick it up. All right, Chandler, what you
Oh,
got?
man. So Brandon, you hit two of my guys, but I've got a little segment here that I'm gonna call Patience or Panic. And all the listeners are gonna be like,
That's such a great
"Chandler,
name, by the way.
you're-
Jackson Morrill.
You're overreacting. It's way too early to panic." That's the definition of panic, is it overreaction? So yes, I will be overreacting.
Overreacting
bit.
is panicking.
Yeah, absolutely. It is important to note that I'm strictly talking fantasy baseball here. I'm not talking about like, oh, teams should actually cut these players and move them, anything like that, right? But we are almost done with week 6 of the season. There are 26 and a half weeks, so we're just about 25% done. And to kick it off, I've got 6 hitters and 4 pitchers for you. To kick it off, I've got most likely the most highly touted individual in baseball, and also that went in any fantasy draft, Ronald Acuna Jr. with the Atlanta Braves, right? He's got 115 at-bats this season, a 252 average, a 572 OPS. He's scored 29 runs. He's got 7 RBIs and 13 steals, right? He has 29 hits compared to 38 strikeouts right here, right now. Of those 29 hits, 1 home run and 6 total extra base hits. So he still has a 368 on base percentage, and he's recently started to steal more bases, get back to those legs moving. In fact, he's got 12 steals over the last 18 games, right? In my opinion, and in many people's opinion, he's arguably the most dynamic player in the MLB. He's firmly planted in the leadoff position for one of the best offenses in the MLB. So he's destined to turn things around. It might not be today, it might not be tomorrow. It's going to eventually happen, right? When he does, firmly believe that he's just going to catch fire. I think that nobody wants to win MVP more than this guy does, because he wants to go back to back, because in his mind, he wants to double up on that 40-70 season that he graced us all with last year. So I see him catching fire, staying really hot here eventually, and then actually making a push towards the end of the season for an MVP candidacy. I tell you, patience, right? If you have significant holes in your lineup, you can always move this guy for whatever you need. The name alone will get you exactly what you're looking for. But if you are going to move him, I recommend you do it now. You don't wait for him to catch fire. You're going to get emotionally attached. There's no way you're moving him after he actually gets his bat going. Second guy on my list, also for the Atlanta Braves, which is why I didn't really know. I should have known right off the bat for your player perspective, Colby, but Matt Olson, right? He's got 107 at bats, a 206 average, 706 OPS. He scored 14 runs and 16 RBIs this year. He's got 22 hits compared to 33 strikeouts. Of those 22 hits, 3 of them are homers, 12 of them are extra base hits. So he's going to eventually find his groove. The 2023 batting or the home run champ, he'll eventually figure it out, right? However, I don't think it's going to be found in the cleanup spot. I had this debate last year when he was on my team. I don't like him in the 4 hole. He operates so much better out of the 2 or the 3 spot. With Acuna and Riley in front of him, and once Riley eventually picks it up, there goes Olson's RBIs. They're out the window. His shots become solo shots because Riley's clearing the bases for him. So I think in order for his RBI production to uptick, he needs to go back to the 2 or the 3 hole. And I think it's, again, that's just where he's more comfortable. He'll find his swing there.
And if I'm not mistaken, that's how it was last year, right?
Correct.
Because
They moved him
Riley
towards the end of the
Riley
season.
was a 4.
Yep.
Riley was a 4, and
Yep.
then they had Olson at 3.
Yep.
Oh.
Absolutely. And
Why
then when
go away with something that worked so well?
I couldn't tell you. There was a good stint in the season where he was batting 2 as well. Sometimes Ozzy would push back to the 5 spot, which was kind of strange because I think Ozzy's a great 2 guy. But I'll tell you, patience. I think if we see Olson and Riley switch positions, get Olson back to where he's most comfortable, he will very quickly resemble his 2023 self. I can't ever recommend trading him if he's on your team. So hang on to him for the entire season. Once he starts connecting, it's going to be really difficult to want to let go. And you're just going to kick yourself if you trade him away and you let that production go to somebody else's team.
Yeah. So don't hang on to him unless I want him. Then
right.
Then trade him to me.
You got to move big money like Logan Gilbert for that to happen. Just saying. But third guy on my list here, like I said, Brandon already touched on him. Corbin Carroll, Arizona Diamondbacks. Season stats: 117 at bats, 197 average, a 547 OPS, 13 runs, 5 RBIs, and 8 steals. So he's got a 16 walks to 22 strikeouts, and he has 8 steals, but only a measly 299 on base percentage. So on base less than 1/3% of the time. And when he does get on base, it's mostly via the walk, as evident by his 16 walks. Pretty impressive in that regard. But the 2023 NL Rookie of the Year, he shows very little resemblance of his former self. He got moved, as Brandon said, from the 1 to 2 spot down to the 6 through 8 spot. And in fact, the managers even now starting to give him days off against left-handed pitching, kind of treating him like a platoon player, just trying to figure out the groove of things, right? My vote for Corbin Carroll is to panic. And this isn't just to get Brandon to trade him to my team or anything like that, but it is a sense of nobody knows what the hell is going on, including Tony Lavullo who's the manager for the Diamondbacks, right? He's trying to figure out, move around the batting order, trying to give him off days. It's clearly not working. Now, sooner or later, this guy's going to figure it back out. He's going to get back on the base, going to start running wild. I don't think we see the home run production from him at all this year, but you'll see the doubles, you'll see the triples. He still has his legs underneath him. So I say either trade him now because it's still Corbin Carroll, or you have to be patient. And it's not one of those things that's like patient for the next week or so. You might be patient until the end of the All-Star break. It might be a little bit of a long haul. So I recommend let him be somebody else's problem. Let somebody else be patient with him. Grab somebody that you can for him, fill a spot that you actually need on your roster, and just don't even think about it again, right? Another guy on my list, Aaron Judge, New York Yankees. 122 at bats, 197 average, 724 OPS, 12 runs, 18 RBIs. He's got 24 hits. He also has 40 strikeouts and 24 walks. The walks are quite impressive. But of those 24 hits, 12 of them were extra base hits, 6 of those are home runs. So I'm not normally one of those guys that likes to say, I told you so. But in this case, I love to be like, I told you so, right? I predicted that the addition of Juan Soto to the Yankees was going to make Aaron Judge look not good. I think Aaron Judge is the guy. If he's responsible, if he is the team, he carries that weight on his shoulders incredibly well, performs astronomically. But that hasn't been the case this year. It's been the Juan Soto show. And after that, it's even been the Anthony Volpe and Oswaldo Cabrera and I'm blanking on their left fielder's name right now, but that guy that came from Boston.
Verdugo.
Thanks. Thank you. Even Anthony Rizzo is performing better than Aaron Judge at this point in time, right? So it's not the Aaron Judge show. However, I recommend you be patient with him. It's really hard to panic for a guy like Judge. There is one caveat: the MLB is no longer shipping, those inflated balls out to Yankee Stadium like they were 2 years ago when he was the home run king. But he will also figure it out. All this guy needs to do is bunt for a home run. Like, that's how much power he has in his bat. You hope for one connection a game, and that's fine. If you get it, you're in good shape. He's the king of multi-homer games. He's also the king of multi-strikeout games. So if you get 2 homers one day, 3 strikeouts the next, it's fine. We all know that home runs count more than strikeouts do in the whole grand scheme of things. And this is a game of points, positive points at that. So hang on to Aaron Judge. I don't think you move him. The Yankees are only going to get better as time goes on. Also, he's not going anywhere in that lineup unless he like stubs his toe again or something like that.
Literally what happened last year.
Literally
Why
what
he
happened
missed
last
all
year.
the games is he stubbed his toe real bad.
Yeah, but it held him out of spring training, and it didn't hold him out of the start of the season, which is why he's been able to get those 100+ at bats so
I
far
will
this year.
say that the end of last year, he was struggling kind of like
Mhm.
this, and it seems like it's kind of continuing. So I think it could be rust, to your point, as to why not to panic.
Yeah,
But it's also not fun to see.
yeah, those slumps are sometimes really, really hard to get out of, and they can transcend the off season. Just because you got a break of 6 months or whatever in between games doesn't mean that your problems went away. And baseball is an extremely complicated sport at no other position than hitting. It's the hardest thing to do in sports, and so whenever you're off by this much, it looks like you're off by a freaking mile where the stats are concerned.
That's true.
Another guy on my list here, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., Toronto Blue Jays. Y'all might come at me and be like, oh, he's starting to turn things around. He's got like a 300 average over his last 7 games. I don't really care, right? He's had 121 at bats this year. He's got a 231 average, a 683 OPS, and a measly 11 runs and 11 RBIs to go along with that. He's got 28 hits, only 29 strikeouts, which is quite impressive for him because he normally whiffs quite a bit, and 18 walks, but only 3 home runs and 8 total extra base hits, right? By all top analysts, by anybody that actually gets paid money to talk about sports, unlike us, everybody is expecting every year is Vlad's breakout year. Every single year, oh, this is when we finally get Vlad Guerrero Jr. at his prime. This is just going to be the new standard that we have going forward with power hitters. It hasn't happened. Sure, the last 2 years, he's got 30+ home runs and 90+ RBIs. Sure, he's the son of what some people would widely consider as one of the greatest hitters of all time, at least one of the greatest bad ball hitters of all time, right? He always, for me, and I've got him on my team, right? And it sucks to say this, but he always leaves something to be desired. It painstakes me whenever I see him as my primary first baseman, because there are 23 eligible first basemen with better points than him thus far in the season. So I tell you to panic. Literally get this guy off your team. Don't wait around to see if he does figure it out. He's not a career 300 hitter like his teammate Bo Bichette is, which is why Bo Bichette's not on this list, because you can just wait for him to come around and start hitting 300. There are people out there that are big Vladdy fans, and you need to go find them, and you need to get this guy on their team for somebody that they're not a big fan of, because some people just have to have him on their team. I'm not one of those guys. I drafted him with really, really high hopes, and I'd love to get rid of him in exchange for a decent player, somebody that doesn't have 23 people ahead of them at their respective position.
Yeah, as a guy that has 2 Toronto Blue Jays on their fantasy team,
Yeah.
I've watched a lot of Toronto baseball this year, and Vladdy just seems like he comes to the at bat he's going to swing at the first 3. Like, he wants to get out of there really quick.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm
It's
swinging.
almost like he comes to the plate 0-2.
Like, I'm going to swing at the first 3 pitches.
Yeah.
And if I hit it, great. If I don't, I'm striking out, or I'm grounding out, or I'm popping out. But I literally watch him, and I'm thinking, after he swung at the first bat, I'm like, I bet you he swings at, and it's not like these are pitches down the middle. Like, these are breaking balls low and away. And it's like, swing once, strike, swing once, swing again, strike 2, swing again, strike 3. It's like, it's almost like either somebody told you, hey, get up there, swing the ball the first 3 pitches, or you just took it upon yourself. Like, I got places to be, so I'm gonna go ahead and just I'm out, like that type of thing. It's concerning, his plate discipline, for sure.
And there are often times I see a silhouette of him swinging. I'm like, is that Vladdy or is that Javier Baez? Like it is that bad at times.
Hey.
He and with the disconnect on the lead hand to just really make yourself look silly at the end of a whiff.
That's a good dopamine shot right there. If you guys ever just want to be happy, just watch Javier Baez. There's like
Yeah.
10-minute compilations on YouTube of him
Yeah.
just swinging at
That's
junk
funny.
pitches, and it's the best.
Last hitter on my list here is the other guy that Brandon hit, and that is Julio Rodriguez with the Seattle Mariners. Like you said, 122 at bats, a 270 average isn't bad. A 638 OPS is not the home run derby guy we're used to seeing. Total of 12 runs, 11 RBIs, 7 steals. So he's got 33 hits and 40 strikeouts. It's the same number as Aaron Judge, and not putting up nearly the extra base hits numbers Aaron Judge is. Only 6 walks, right? He's got 1 home run, 5 extra base hits total. Good news is Julio's not scared to swing the bat. Bad news is he's scared to take a pitch, right? His on base percentage is anchored around his above average batting average at that 260, 270 mark. But he's seemingly lost all power. He's hit more singles than anything. Again, he's got 4 doubles and 1 homer for 5 total extra base hits. And then he's clearly just whiffing. And if he keeps up this pace, if he's got 40 strikeouts right now, and if he keeps up this pace, he's going to have 209 on the season. He had 175 last year. And so adding another 24 to that is pretty insane. He's also on pace for only 26 extra base hits this year. That falls well short of the 71 he put up last year. I don't know what's going on with him. I'm not sticking around to find out. My measure is panic with him. Again, similar to the Corbin Carroll thing. He's got weight to his name regardless of how he's performing. There are people out there that are huge Julio Rodriguez fans. Unfortunately, he only plays 1 outfield slot. Corbin Carroll has that in his favor. He can be plugged and played into the 3. But let him be somebody else's problem. If he does eventually end up contributing, that's fine. Hopefully you got yourself a nice little return in exchange. But go find you somebody that's actually going to win you weeks instead of lose you days, which is where Julio's at right now. More negatives than positives and on a weekly basis, at least if you're looking at the 1-by-1s, right? Moving over to pitchers. This is my guy, Pablo Lopez. Y'all know how I feel about him. Minnesota Twins. He's got 31.2 innings pitched, a 4.83 ERA, a 1.04 whip, which is fantastic. 37 strikeouts, also great. Only 7 walks. Pretty good as well. 2 quality starts. He is 2-2. 2 wins, 2 losses on the season. And that can be thanked for strictly the Minnesota offense. They've been coming out swinging. They've been getting him out of a lot of jams. They've been bailing him out for poor performances. He gave up 4 runs to the Angels last week, and he actually got a win from that game, which is insane to me because Seattle's bullpen isn't bad. That just means, I'm sorry, not Minnesota's bullpen isn't bad. That just means that their offense came alive towards the end of the game. So he was my starting pitcher prediction for a bust this year in the preseason before we even started all of this. And he's by no means a bad pitcher. I'm not calling him a complete bust. The Twins obviously view him as their ace, especially next to Joe Ryan. And at this point, Joe Ryan is making him look a little silly, but he's also been far from stellar to start the season. So the losses from the Tigers, when he gave up 5 runs in 4 innings to the tune of an 11.25 ERA, and no decision against the White Sox, who we know is dog water. He gave up 3 runs over 4 innings for a 6.75.
Dude, that's
ERA.
a funny point. That's a funny thing you bring that up because it seems like anytime I stream a pitcher that's playing the White Sox, I feel like they just they just destroy him.
You got to pitch the no-namers against them.
Oh
yeah, they actually
God.
they have film on the guys with names. They don't have film on the rookies and the the relievers.
I'm pretty sure every
starters.
single one of the White Sox wins have come against a pitcher I streamed.
I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it. But the Detroit one's a little more understandable. Towards the start of the season, they had the longest win streak in the MLB.
They're pretty good.
The White Sox one is just inexcusable to me for a guy that's supposed to be Pablo Lopez, right? So I caution you to panic. I say get rid of him, right? With so much movement early on with starting pitchers, people going on the IL, people getting called up from AAA, relievers transitioning to a starter role, it's not difficult to find yourself a replacement either on the waiver wire in free agency or just a straight up trade for this guy. I'm sure he was paid for, Pablo, in the draft, whether that was an early draft pick or an actual high dollar amount, but have that carry a little bit of weight whenever you move this guy off your roster. I highly recommend finding another team that could benefit more from his consistently, because that's what he is. He will consistently get you those 20 points or so. Instead of the holdout of, oh, I just need a stellar and outstanding performance from him today, because he's faltered every time it's been looked at that way. So I don't like waiting every 5 days to see if whether or not he's going to perform. I'd rather offload him on my team, get rid of him, grab somebody that you know is actually going to do well, wipe your hands of it, call it a day. Kevin Gausman, Toronto Blue Jays.
That's your boy.
I feel the entire opposite way about Kevin Gausman than I do Pablo Lopez. Love this guy. We'll get into that here in a second. He only has 28 innings pitched. He had a late start to the season. 4.5 ERA, 1.36 whip, 23 strikeouts, 6 walks, 2 quality starts over those 28 innings, which isn't too bad. He's got 1 win and 3 losses. And again, it's the opposite of the Twins, because Toronto isn't doing their pitchers any favors. They're having a really hard time scoring runs. We just talked about Vladdy, Bobichet struggling. The highlight of their team right now is Dalton Varsho, and he's actually doing great things. But yeah, Kevin Gausman lost the game against the Royals where he pitched 6 2/3 of an inning, had no earned runs, gave up 1 unearned run due to an error, and they lost that game. And he got charged for it because of that error, and the Toronto offense couldn't actually get anything going. Mind you, the Royals pitching staff isn't anything to scoff at this year, but you should be able to get 1 off of them. So I like everything about Kevin Gausman. I like his arsenal. I like his pitch sequence. I like his confidence in himself. I even like his freaking windup. And it's hard not to like his work ethic. And his work ethic has been no more evident than now after seeing that Dodgers game, which is why I tell you patience. He's done it. He's turned the corner. He's fine. Yeah, the strikeouts numbers aren't there. They may not be there again. But again, he altered his game because he was getting hit at the start. He said, hey, I don't need to whiff people. I just need to get outs. And that's what he did. He altered his game to get outs. He followed the Kansas City game up with the Dodgers, who, when he gave up only 5 hits, one of those hits was a home run. That was the only earned run he allowed. And he had 5 strikeouts, and he came away with the win at a 1.29 ERA and a 0.71 whip. So hang on to this guy for the season. It's clear the worst days are behind him. It's not a Chris Bassett situation where you just still don't know. He'll be competing for Jose Barrios, so the best pitcher on that squad. I won't talk too much about the last 2 just because they're not really high priority, big name guys. But one would be Zach Eflin, Tampa Bay Rays. He's just not repeating a season that he had last year. He's got 41 innings pitched, 4.17 ERA, which is still good for a quality start, right? That 4.5 ERA is what we're looking for. Three runs per 6 innings, 4.5 ERA. 1.17 whip, 36 strikeouts, outstanding. 4 walks, outstanding. 3 quality starts, outstanding. He's had a few rough outings, but he's also had a few great outings. So he had a stint where he gave up just 1 combined earned run across 18.1 innings to the Rangers, the Angels, and the Yankees. Pretty outstanding. However, I still vote panic. I think his best day is not necessarily behind him, but you're going to get the highlights like we saw against those 3 teams. You're also going to get the lowlights when he actually gets you either anywhere from -5 to 5 positive points. The reason I say panic is because I don't think the Tampa Bay Rays are the same team they were last year. I said it at the beginning of the season. There's no way they cross the 90 win mark, much less get on a 17-game win streak like they did last year. They are losing games similar to the Blue Jays, 1-0, 2-1. It is not good for their offense. Granted, they're popping off right now as we're talking. They put up, I think, 8 or so against the Mets so far. But if you can move him for a piece that you actually need, I highly recommend it. Don't feel obligated to do so. You don't necessarily have to full on panic, like I said, overreact, because he's still going to be relatively consistent for you. It's just really tough because even when he does pitch well, the offense isn't doing enough to get him a win, and you hate seeing those losses on a good pitching day. Lastly, Jordan Montgomery with the Arizona Diamondbacks. He came into the season late because of contract negotiations. The Diamondbacks decided to finally give him a chance. He came in, didn't get a spring training. He did get a couple AAA games underneath his belt. Looked okay, right? 16 innings pitched, 5.63 ERA, 1.31 whip, 8 strikeouts to 4 walks. He's never been the big strikeout guy. We all kind of know him as Mr. Control, right? But the 4 walks are a little concerning. He's got 1 win and 2 losses out of those 3. So the fact that his decision's been made on each one of those actually bodes a little well for him. I think the Arizona Diamondbacks are a good team, and the manager is clearly letting Jordan Montgomery get to his pitch count. And so they're letting him go. They're letting him get stretched out. And that's what I'd recommend teams that have him on the fantasy as well. Just let him get stretched out. Let him figure it out. Give him a little bit of time. I don't think there's a real wrong answer with what to do to Jordan Montgomery. However, that performance he had against the Dodgers last week, 6 hits, 2 of them were home runs, 6 earned runs, 3 walks, 1 strikeout, 3 innings, caught the loss. That leaves a very poor taste in almost anybody's mouth. So they're letting him go. The whip's inflated because mainly of that Dodgers game. Again, he only has 3 games to go off of, but he lost the revenge game against the Cardinals as well, which I expected him to come out fired up, and he just didn't look like it. And so attribute it to ramp up time if you want to, attribute it to getting comfortable with a new team, with a new coaching staff. But a guy that a pitching coach that teaches or coaches Zach Gallen, Merrill Kelly, would have been Eduardo Rodriguez at this point in the time if he didn't have a setback. Now teaching Jordan Montgomery, there's really no excuse that he's not, coming out the gates hot at this point in time. So you do what you want with Jordan. I wouldn't keep him around. But because the team, it seems to be giving him a bout of confidence, I can understand if you wanted to do the same. And that's all I got.
I love it. No, it's yeah, I saw Jordan Montgomery get a little bit pieced up. I mean, rightfully so. It was against the Dodgers, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I mean,
tough
who
offense to
doesn't
play
get
against.
pieced up by the
Yeah.
Dodgers? Yeah.
But well, Kevin Gausman didn't,
Yeah.
So it's one of those
Better
things.
respect my guy.
Yeah, exactly. A bit of respect, but
Yeah.
it's also I think the Dodgers are a better team against right-handed or against left-handed pitching than they are right-handed pitching. Just because Freddie
Well,
can hit left. You got
and I
bats.
think
Yeah.
that this is a great segue. But I took the liberty upon myself to listen to our old podcast and bring up some of the players that, so before the season started, for you late listeners, we ended up doing a ranking of, got no space on this damn desk. We had we did rankings for each position group leading up to the start of the season and the fantasy draft, right? And I wanted to kind of check on, where are those takes? Like, where are they at, right? Because both of you guys gave a top 5 of a position, and then some guys to look out for. So these are like the guys to look out for. And then, of course, Chandler is like, these guys are going to suck, right?
Wait, why is it of course?
What the hell?
Of course Chandler's like these guys are gonna suck.
Yeah.
I don't hate everybody, man.
No, you don't hate everybody. You just really zone in on a couple guys.
Yeah.
And
That's
you're
fair.
just, it's the
That's
I
fair.
told you so thing. But I mean, what I'm about to say proves that you're not wrong. So you talked about Pablo Lopez. Chandler said, and this is all before season started,
Mhm.
Chandler said Pablo Lopez would be a flop. Pablo Lopez is sitting at the 53rd best starting pitcher. So there you go. As another flop. I don't know if this is considered a flop, but considered where people were paying for him, maybe. Pete Alonso, you said he was going to flop. He is the 9th ranked qualifying first baseman. So not terrible, but not
Not top
where
5.
you would have paid money for him, right?
Yep.
This is Colby's right here. This is yours. Jeremy Pena.
Hey.
Jeremy Pena, you said look out for him. He is the 6th best shortstop in fantasy right now. Check that out.
He's playing well.
Chandler, you said Dansby Swanson was going to flop. He's the 21st ranked shortstop. So there you go. And then 2 gyms that both of you guys share, and I think it's super important. Spencer Steer, right?
Love
He's
that guy.
2nd in fantasy at first base and 4th in the outfield because he qualifies for both positions.
Yep.
So he's 2nd at first base. So the 2nd best first baseman and the 4th best outfielder. And that's all the outfielder positions together.
Yep.
And then Alec Baum. Both of you guys were big on Alec Baum. first at first base. He's the best first baseman in baseball. First at first base and third at third base because he qualifies for third base.
Yep.
So good on you guys.
Salt in the wound, man. I had forgot that I chose Alec Baum as my gym, and then I went and drafted him and dropped
Dropped
him
him.
within like a week.
And then I'm
But it
appreciating you
happens.
for that.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
thanking
okay.
you
I'm
for
glad.
that.
I'm glad he's on one of y'all's teams. You know, and
Yeah,
not
like
somebody else's
it's
team.
like he has you as like a distant uncle. You
Yeah,
know?
exactly. You just
Like
gotta
he's still in the
reap what you sow,
family,
man.
still
Reap
in
what
the
you sow.
family, just
Yeah.
maybe not in your house
Yep.
per se.
Yeah.
All right, so I just have UFC, and then we can go ahead and get up out of here.
Nice.
So let me share my screen here. So this is tomorrow. We got UFC 301 headlined by Alexander Pantoja versus Steve Urseg.
Such a
And-
badass last name, Pantoja.
Hell yeah, it really is. It sounds like Pantera, like the band.
Yeah.
But this is super interesting. So this main event is kind of a little bit of controversy because Steve Urseg is, I think he's ranked this. I don't think this is necessarily the UFC's ranking, but I think Steve Urseg is ranked, or at least when they made this fight, he was ranked number 11 and he's fighting for the belt. People are like, what the hell is happening? But hey, availability is a big part of the sport. So I am going to, what I have done for the past 2 or 3 pay-per-views. If you guys look, it's all documented. You guys look at the YouTube, look at the TikTok, it's there. I give you guys, for the free fight nights, I don't really dive too much into it because there's so much unknown because it's a lot of people making their debuts and stuff like that. So on the free fights, I give you guys 5 bets. On the pay-per-view, I give you a bet for every single fight. So I'm going to run through these. It's not going to be a bit of a breakdown. It's just kind of where I think the fight's going to go. And we'll see what happens. I think I went like 10 for 13 last pay-per-view, and then the
Nice.
same for the one before. Just I'm on a stupid run right now, which makes me nervous to give these picks, but here we are. You know, because anytime any real sports bettor knows that when you're on a run, it's all got to come to a crashing, firing halt at some point. But let's start from the bottom and we'll make our way to the top. So we got Alessandro Costa versus Kevin Borjas. I'm taking Alessandro Costa at minus 140. Next fight, Ismail Bonfim versus Vince Pichel. I'm taking Bonfim to win inside the distance. That's at even money. Taking that one. Diane Barboza versus Ernesta. Yeah, right. I'm going to try to say this last name.
I thought you were pronouncing it. I was like, wow, dude, that's how you say that?
Yeah, so I'm going to say this fight goes the distance. It goes all 3 rounds at minus 170. I'm taking that one. Next fight, Mauricio Rufy versus Jamie Malarkey. I am going to say this fight goes under 2.5 rounds at minus 185. Next fight, Joaquim Silva versus Drakkar Klose. I am taking Drakkar Klose at minus 185. Next fight, Elvis Brenner versus, yeah, right, I'm going to say his last name, Oralby, right? This is my big underdog pick. I'm going to take Brenner. He's sitting at plus 210. I'm taking him. This fight's in Brazil, by the way, so you might have a little bit of motivation to take some of the Brazilian-born fighters, as they might see some added motivation, right?
They always show out in their hometown, dude.
And this
like.
there might be not any proof behind this, but I think judges kind of sway towards the hometown guys, in
Sure.
my opinion. But you know, technically the judges have no affiliation and they're randomly selected. But we'll move on. Maybe they just don't want to get stabbed. Who knows? And the next fight, I got Karolina Kovacevic versus Lasmin Lucindo. I'm going to say this fight goes the distance at minus 175. Next fight, Joanderson Brito versus Jack Shore. This is actually my fight of the night pick. I think this one's going to be a barn burner. I am actually going to take Jack Shore at plus 135 underdog, but this one's going to be a banger. I have a hard time picking this one. I think there's too much value on a 17-1 Jack Shore. So moving forward, Paul Craig versus Caio Borralho. This fight's going under 2.5 rounds. That is sitting at minus 150. Next fight, Michelle Pereira, Ihor Poteria. I'm going to say this fight completes one round. That's sitting at -150. Next fight, Anthony Smith versus, God, I wish he would stop fighting. Anthony Smith versus Vitor Petrino. I am going to say this fight completes 2 rounds. So this fight will go over 2 rounds, and that is sitting at -130. Jonathan Martinez versus the recently unretired Jose Aldo. We just talked about him in the draft. He's making his return in Brazil in front of his home crowd, and I'm taking Jonathan Martinez at -145.
Wow.
Jose Aldo was bad when he retired. I'm supposed to be better now that he's coming back. No way. Jonathan
Yes.
Martinez is a stud. I'm taking Martinez at -145. But if Aldo wins, it'd be fucking awesome. I'll gladly lose a bet for Aldo to win 100%. And the main event, I have lost sleep over this one. Alexander Pantoja, Steve Erceg. Erceg is sitting at +155, and I love it. He's such a wild card, and flyweight at 125 pounds for dudes is such an interesting division because the skill gap isn't crazy. It's not like other divisions where there's your champion, then there's a big skill gap, and then there's the other guys. A lot of these guys can fight with each other. Like they're all on a similar skill level. So I would love Steve Erceg to come in as an underdog at the 11th ranked flyweight and beat Pantoja. But in Brazil, I'm just not comfortable taking it, but I like it. I like +155. I'm not taking it. I'm going to take Pantoja at -185, which is a little boring, but that's where I'm going. And those are my picks. I'm not going to give you a parlay or anything like that because I gave you, was it 13 bets? So you do with them what you want. Those are the bets I like. And this should be a really good card. I mean, hopefully Anthony Smith retires because I'm sick of that guy. And then Jose Aldo returning. Michelle Pejeda's must-see TV. Bohalo, super good. Like I said, Jack Shore, Joanderson Brito. This fight's going to be a barn burner.
I'm surprised Carolina's still fighting. I thought she was
Yeah.
old school.
I mean, dude, let's see what we got here. She's sitting at 38 years old. So, fighting a 22-year-old. Look at that.
Wow. Yeah, she's been around for a while.
She has. She fought.
Could be her kid.
She got beat up by Joanna. That could be her kid.
Could, man. They had a show, 16 and Pregnant or something like that.
I think you're right. Yeah, my fight, I think Joaquim Silva, Drakkar Klose, that's a barn burner. Brenner, Orobai, barn burner. This Roofy guy is a straight killer, barn burner. It should be fun. I don't know if I'm paying for it because this is a pay-per-view and it's really one of the weaker cards that we've seen, but maybe that is just a product of us getting spoiled with these amazing cards. But this one's kind of on the lower end when it comes to excitement. But I've always said the fights that look like they're lacking star power, those end up being the best cards. So
how much are pay-per-views nowadays? I remember them being like $50-$60. Are they still the same?
I just tell my wife to buy it and I tell her not to tell me.
Oh, fair enough.
I think it's like $80 now.
Good. Jeez, man.
I think it's 70. I think it's 79.99. And I buy them every month.
40 or something.
Like a trained sheep. I buy them every month.
They used to be 40, and then if you wanted it in HD, you had to pay 50.
Right. Yeah. No, you're right. No, I buy them like clockwork. This one, I think I'll just look at the updates. Illegally stream it.
We heard that. I don't know if we were supposed to hear that. Yeah.
But no, that's how I watch this one. Cause I mean, I'm just $80 for a flyweight title fight. No thanks. But like I said, those fights end up being pretty juicy, and they end up being because you have low expectations. So when someone gets spun kick in the face and gets knocked out cold, you're like, oh my God, that wasn't supposed to happen. But yeah, no. So that's
I was able to watch the Ryan Garcia Devin Haney boxing match the other day on TikTok.
I was in the hospital with the baby. But now Ryan Garcia is tested positive
twice.
Yeah. There's a lot of shit going on with
dude.
that.
Before and after.
I don't want to go on a soapbox, but I'm convinced that Ryan Garcia doesn't know how any of this works because he's on this as someone I've been a fight fan for forever. He always goes, he says, "Oh, I tested positive." He goes, "Someone's trying to frame me. Someone's after me. Why would they expose the drug test results after the fight?" That's how this works, Ryan. That's how all suspensions that come from PEDs, it's always come after the fight happens. That's how it works. Like, this dude does not know how things work, and it frustrates the shit out of me. It's like, anytime, you know how many fights get a person won, but then they tested positive, so then they had to go back and then overturn it to a no contest. It happens literally all the time, and he's like acting like it's some type of ploy against them. It's like, no, dude, you doped up. Be quiet. But with that being said, he had a fantastic performance.
What did he test positive for?
Ostranine, which is pretty. It's one of those things where it's not like the stuff you test positive for isn't like that straight just horse tranquilizer. Like, no, it's hidden in a bunch of shit. So there's not really a full blown like pointing that he, doped
Took
up.
this to make this
But
happen to him,
ostranine
kind of
is
thing.
found in some stuff that's not so bad, but it's found in some stuff that's really bad too. So I don't know.
Mm.
And he's stupid. He got on the thing. He has a bottle of ashwagandha, and he's like, "This is what made me test positive." No, it didn't. No, it didn't. I take ashwagandha. I'm not tested positive for ostranine. But no. But he had a great performance though. So I hope that that was because he was on another level. It seems like with fighting Devin Haney, if you just stay away from the jab, leaves
Yeah,
himself open for that
that's
left
like
hook, and he was
that's
just
like all Haney had going for him.
well,
was
his
the
jab is one of the best, and I know very little about
Yep.
boxing, but I've
Right.
heard very smart people say that Devin Haney's jab is amazing.
Yeah, it's
But
like Haney has the jab, and then Ryan Garcia
has
has
that
the
left hook. Good.
And it just night, Yeah.
No, I hope that I hope that it wasn't any type of doping to give him some type of advantage. I hope it was accidental, because accidental you taking a tainted supplement happens all the
Yeah.
time, and
It
it's just
happened to
like,
Chad Mendez.
yeah, like you just think you're
Yep.
taking like protein powder, and then it turns out it's some type of on the ban list, because all these athletic commissions have a ban list. It's like stuff. I don't know if Chael Sonnen was serious, but I think Chael Sonnen said you can't even take like Tylenol or some shit like that. I don't know if he was being hyperbolic, but
Just make it all legal. Just let everybody take whatever
dude,
they want.
that's
Just
what
go
they do
for
in
it.
Japan. Just
Yeah.
like you see these guys
cares?
that get retire from the UFC because they don't have it anymore, and then they just go overseas to Japan and they just put fucking cement in their veins, and then I think Overeem is still getting
Yeah.
wins.
The before and after of Overeem and
Ubereem?
steroids.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
When he goes from
He was
Overeem
already
to Ubereem.
huge.
Yeah,
Who else
well,
was
when
it?
you were
Vitor Belfort?
watching, yeah, Belfort, he's probably out there
Yep.
still wheel kicking people.
TRT.
TRT, man.
Mhm.
But all right,
Crazy.
boys. We'll wrap it up here. I think this was a very awesome podcast. Colby,
good
you
fun.
got any words of wisdom before we head off?
Grip it and rip it. Let's go.
It's always Chandler. Any words of wisdom?
No, I like what Colby said.
Mhm.
What he said. All right,
What that
guys.
guy said.
We're gonna head off because me and Chandler are gonna work a deal for Christian Walker, and
Make a trade that doesn't involve Christian Walker.
no, it's gonna be great, and because he owes me that for it's a
I gave
late,
you bomb basically.
it's a late baby shower gift. He's like, dude,
Oh, okay.
I'm very. He's like, you becoming a new father, Christian Walker. I'll give it to you.
It's all you, man.
I'll give it
put
to
it
you
in the
for
mail.
Good luck with your
pennies on the
baby.
dollar.
Yeah. Good luck with your baby. Hope this helps you sleep.
All right, everybody. We are the Wide 80 Podcast, and we are signing out.
See ya.
See ya.